Hi, welcome to Intuition Your First Sense. This is Vicky. Thank you for joining me for another episode. This one is actually a recording I did during our Wisdom Wednesday group, which is a group that meets once a month, the last Wednesday of every month. And it's a combination of intuition development, understanding energy, life skills, coaching. The reason it's called Wisdom Wednesday is because I'm not the only one bringing the wisdom. The people in it who participate bring their wisdom as well. So there is interactive. And in this recording, I'm protecting them and what they've shared, so those parts will be edited out. But the content was so good that I thought, I don't think I can recreate this simply by sitting here and talking to myself, even though I imagine all of you here with me. It's quite crowded in my living room. So I thought I would put it together to present it in this episode. It's about perseverance. And I really feel like this last year in particular, people are digging deep and we are figuring out that, wow, we are really capable of more than we ever thought we were. And I think that should be celebrated. And instead of lamented or here we go again, the same old, or frustration or anger. I think all emotions are valid, of course, but I feel like we're missing a gift in recognizing what this time going through pandemic and then the winter in the Northeast right now, just what it's helping us to develop within ourselves. And I am a big fan of acknowledging when we're doing something well, much like you do with kids. Well, we're just older kids. Our psyche still needs all of this. And I thought that I would share this topic with you as well and hope it helps you to recognize you do have perseverance within you. You are persevering. You are resilient. And you just have a lot more than you think you do. So it's time to take the inventory to it and maybe understand how to cultivate a bit more perseverance within self. And I go into that in the course. If you'd like to join us, you simply go to the website, vickybaird.com, and sign up for Wisdom Wednesday. It is a subscription, but you can cancel at any time. I am very much a no pressure gal. I want you to show up for yourself, but I won't be the one applying the pressure. Maybe a little kick in the tuchus, but no pressure. Thank you. I hope to see you there. Welcome to Wisdom Wednesday. Thank you for joining me. This month, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about perseverance. And I'm probably going to say it wrong a few times because I'm like, why did you pick this word? I'm going to trip over it. I know I am. For those joining us for the first time this month, thank you. Welcome. Hi. So exciting. I wanted to do this topic of perseverance because I feel like everybody's really tired right now. I feel an incredible amount of emotional exhaustion, which also means energetic exhaustion, which translates to the mental health, to everything. And just in the last week or so, I don't know if it's because we're coming to the anniversary of COVID, at least here in the States, or what it is, but there's just this level of, where you just kind of want to nap through it. And I thought, well, how can I help here? So the message of perseverance may sound like, you can do it, let's go, rah, rah. I'm actually not talking all about that. I'm actually wanting to remind you that you already have this skill. You are already persevering. You have already persevered until this spot, but likely you've not given yourself any credit for it. Or you've not thought about it in any context other than, what do I have to get done today? What's my priority? Where do I want to be? So I felt like I can merge this with intuition. This is easy. It seemed easy to me. I'll explain how it gets easy. No, it's not easy, but how the concepts merge. So I felt like I want to bring an acknowledgement, and I want you to bring an acknowledgement to the effort that has gone into this last year, and add on top of that your life. Life in general. What are you learning? How are you growing? What kind of, challenges have you bumped up against for yourself in the everyday blending of being a soul and a physical being. So perseverance to me is like when we continue to put in an effort, when we continue to show up. It's sometimes like a steadfastness where there's grit that we all have. And again, are we really giving ourselves the credit for it? So the idea of persevering is to move through, but I don't want it to have a heaviness to it, like just suck it up and move through. This is life, just deal with it. It's like, no, we're like persevering. We rock. So bringing a little bit of acknowledgement to it. I think of it as the ability to keep doing something, even if you don't want to, or even if there are some obstacles, or maybe you had this perception of a return on investment, but that's not what you're getting right now. So you're like, I'm just going to bail on this, or I'm going to forget it. It's not worth it. You know, all those comments that come up. And then there's this little voice inside, say hello to your soul voice, that says, but didn't you want to learn how to perceive energy a little bit more effectively? You know, didn't you want to do that mile at a little bit faster pace? Didn't you want to learn how to make that pizza dough that doesn't feel like it's 800 pounds when you're cooking it? I'm working on that one. My pizza dough is thick, man. So when we incorporate that grit with a soul desire, it shows up as this perseverance. So the energy, because every emotion or every experience has a frequency to it, you'll experience the feeling of persevering and then to success differently than I would. Everybody on this call is going to experience it differently. So the way that it merges with your intuitive abilities and developing your intuition a little bit more is, I don't know if you've noticed this yet, but if you want to increase any of your empathic or clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairgustus, clair others, sentient, after all these years, you think I could rattle them off, but you have to persevere. You have to keep going in there, because just when you think you've got it, something else will show up or something will enhance. And it takes courage, which I think is part of persevering, to be able to say, what was that? What's that new feeling I have? Or what's that new knowing that I'm experiencing right now? So if we bring this idea or concept of perseverance in front of us, right? Look at it. Give yourself credit, celebrate it. Then I feel like the next time you bump up against something, you have it in your bag. Like you're like, that's right. What was that word? Yeah, that perseverance thing. I have it. Because if you're here today, and I mean physically here today in this world, not just on this call, you've persevered some pretty big shit, man. So it bears giving credit to self, so that you can build on that some more. I mean, just think of a time where you might have said to yourself, I don't know how I'm going to make it through this. I don't know how to do this, or I don't have the skills to handle this right now. Anybody who's ever been in a relationship or had kids, you've probably said that a million times. So in that experience, you probably didn't stop and say, geez, I hope I can persevere this. But I hope next time you will. And then you'll reflect back on, yeah, I did pull myself through that. That was pretty amazing. Or, and we're going to talk about some ways to enhance this within yourself, because just to talk about it. So think of something that you wanted to learn, something you wanted to expand on, something that you really wanted to get. I know when I was becoming aware of what intuition was and developing it, I wanted to really understand why I was feeling everybody else's stuff. I didn't necessarily want to well, it's going to sound a little self-centered, but it was. I didn't necessarily want to do anything with it. Like, I just wanted to understand, why is this going on? Because some of it has to stop. It just needs to stop. And in order to figure that out, I had to keep going in and asking questions. And each situation, every time I got a headache or each time I felt nauseous near someone, I had to keep going in and in hindsight recognize that's, okay, stubbornness, but it's also the act of persevering. So think of something right now, because I want you to give yourself, I want an active credit towards self as I'm talking about this, where you had doubt, you had maybe some blocks, maybe some challenges, maybe somebody else put the obstacles in the way and you were like, move out of the way. Think of an experience like that right now. Get it in your craniums and in your heart. And unless it was in the last 10 minutes and you haven't had time to work through it, now think of how, when you look at that, how proud of you are you? Like, can you bring up any kind of, wow, now that I think about it, that was difficult. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks about it, by the way. That was difficult. I didn't think I was going to make it through it. And now look at where I am. And can we let that sink in just a couple layers through the derma? Let that energy come in. Take a big old proud breath around it. Because perseverance comes from a strength you have within you that in those moments of challenge or conflict or doubt, you might forget. So I want to front load it. Like, I want you to actually be having and go get those moments of evidence, because that's what this is. Perseverance is that little zing, that little feeling of, remember the kids' book with the train, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. It's like that runs in the back, even when you have the biggest doubts. Patience is a different thing. Patience is, okay, I'll wait this out. Perseverance is a fire that when you learn to stoke it a little bit, can have you moving through situations that feel challenging without so much fear, because you build on it, right? You get a little bit of evidence. And it can look like practicing, to put another P word in here. It can look like the act of practicing. Like, I'll keep practicing my pizza dough, another P. And I just won't share it with anybody till it tastes better. We have needed perseverance this last year. We've needed resiliency. We have needed humor. We've needed courage, so much courage. Because every stinking time we think we know what's going on, something changes. And yet here you are, still asking, how can I be more of me? How can I grow? So you got this. Another way, it's occurring to me now, sorry, I got a little download going on. Another way that you have already persevered and you can use this moving forward is through your soul. Anyone think this is their first lifetime? Anyone think it's their last one? Hate to tell you, but no. You think it's your first lifetime? Sharon, I almost called you macaroni. It's not. It's not. Your soul, you think it's your first? Okay. My radar tells me it's not your first. That doesn't mean that it's, because I promise you, you would not be in this class if this was your first lifetime. Not that I vet anybody necessarily, but you wouldn't even see it as an interest. You wouldn't see it as something that you want to explore. So, thank you. She said, good point. Because I can see people's past lives, that was an easy one. You can try challenging me sometime. So your soul has persevered to come through this lifetime, to come through the hundreds of lifetimes that you've done in the past. Now, not all of them were 80 years, so don't panic. But I think the essence next to joy, the soul having all this joy in it and wanting to come in and experience the hilarity of being human, it has a perseverance to it. It has a resiliency to it. And I find especially women have a difficult time giving themselves credit for this, giving themselves credit for not just the soul part, but the rolling with life and being proud and pretty stoked about your own capabilities. So when you're feeling like your human self doesn't have the excitement about being human that the soul does, maybe just take a moment and hand on heart, do a soul connection and just say, okay, soul, you obviously think this is a good idea. So what is it that I want to move through now? Is there anyone you can comment, raise your hand, unmute yourself? Everybody's using names today, so I don't have phone numbers, so I'd be like, who are you, 413? Is there anyone who can't recognize this within themselves in this moment? Good. Thank you for giving self-credit. I can feel the question marks. So I'm trying to tap into the question mark while not moving too quickly through this. I'll just speak to it generically. If there's a doubt about your ability to succeed in any element, that will be coming from the subconscious. It will not be coming from the soul level. So the more that we look at this, the more that we draw attention to it, the less the critic talks. So the doubt about having the capability, the strength, the confidence, the willingness, the energy, just the energy to move through, to persevere. Maybe it just needs to be developed a little bit more, and I have 8 or 9. I just kept writing down ways how could I develop my perseverance? And I stopped at 8 or 9. So this isn't a 4-hour call. So if you don't want to put in chat, let's do this. I am so wide open tonight. If you don't want to put in chat what you're thinking or feeling, just send a message and I'll cover it. Because I don't know if you guys have noticed, but in the last 4 days or so, there is no filter. There is no freaking film. There's no block to other realms. So if you're feeling like, Vicky, shut up, I can't handle one more word, but I said I'd be here tonight, congratulations. Because this is the level at which the energy is operating right now. And it's exciting, but it's also a bit like being at a bar. Have you ever been at one of those restaurants or bar where they have 30 TVs up and no one's thought to mute them? Like they were all playing at the same time and you're like, my head is going to explode. That's a little bit what the energy's like right now. So, and of course they're all sporting events, right? So people are screaming, or Fox News or something. Okay. So just send me a telepathic message. I'll get it. How can you develop it? Can you fail? Like, are you okay with the concept of failing? And I am going to put a caveat on this. But of course, but can you be okay with it? I hope so, because the fact that you're all here conscious, paying attention, actually means you've never failed. Because failure is only when you don't show up anymore, like you don't get up. You just lie there like some kind of one cell amoeba and just lay there or something. So in order to develop perseverance, it's kind of like kids learning to walk, right? They will never learn to walk if you keep catching their fanny. They had to fall down. All of us did, in order to understand gravity. So we have to be willing to, quote unquote, fail in order to develop resiliency, in order to have the skill of perseverance, which this is why it's very dangerous to have a give a trophy to everybody mindset, because then there's no resiliency, there's no perseverance. If you can change your relationship with the idea of failure, and you can get excited, okay, maybe not excited, you can get curious when you feel like you failed. Like, I ate 6 Oreos today. Gluten-free, don't buy them. They're too good. Oh man, I plowed them, take them apart, eat the cream, put them back together. But I could see that as a failure of the other great food I ate today, except I'm choosing to see it as I really enjoyed those stinking things. And no, I won't buy them again because it's not smart. So fell down, got up, a little bit of bounciness going on here. We can learn so much from that grace in that experience, the grace of, the grace and the honesty of, yeah, I did that. And then hopefully the humor. And again, if you even look at it to say, how could I have done that differently? That is not failure. Get rid of that idea. Jane, perseverance in finding my spirit guides. You see them now in the meditation sometimes. We've been talking about this for a while. So, and it probably was annoying at times when I'm like, they're right there. You can't see them. No. Fantastic. Good for you. Maybe gift of COVID, right? Not being in the energy surrounding of so many people, even though you're still interacting with people technology wise, by not having to be in their physical space, your security system could come down a little bit in order to be able to allow you to see them. What I would shift on that is finding them. So stop searching for them. You stand still and let them come to you. Because if you go finding them, you're going to find crazy Uncle Ralph in the astral realm, so let's not do that. You stand still, have them come to you. So you become the point of meeting. Okay. So yes, difficulty. There's some difficulty sleeping going around. Oh, I just talked to the cutest 12-year-old who wasn't able to sleep for 3 days today. And I'm like, it's okay, honey. We're going to shift this for you because the energy is just so wild. Like I wanted to go over and crawl in bed with her and say, okay, I got this. You go to sleep. I'll keep them out. But she looked like she was going to pass out by the time of the end of the session. So hopefully she went night after. So yes, difficulty sleeping. I got up again last night. I was like, forget this. I can't sleep. So I may as well read a book, do some work, get some yoga. It was busy around here. The opportunity for the connection, for the perseverance of this intuition, right? You're showing up. You're asking, what can I see? I'm here. How would you like to present to me? This will be a little rhetorical, but how many times have you sat down to meet your spirit guides and you think nobody showed up? I promise you they showed up, but you feel like no one showed up. And yet you're like, okay, Vicky said sit, I'll sit, and then that little drive that's within you, had you sit down again to meet up, and then it shows up, and that's the success. So this is also one of the ways to really acknowledge within yourself you have this perseverance gene, is the message of micro movements matter. So you've heard me say it 100 times, but micro movements matter. Every little bit matters. So 1% movement will eventually add up to 100%. That's perseverance, the 1%. So just having a growth mindset is 1%. Thinking that it's your first lifetime here, your growth mindset negates that doubting subconscious voice. Because this will be a little fun aside. If it was your first lifetime, you would only care about money, sex, and acquiring, owning, taking from people. If it was your first lifetime, so. And entirely possible your first lifetime was a miscarriage. You came in, went right back out. So we all did it a few times. So the fact that you're not operating completely in your root chakra, I think we're okay here. So a little credit where credit's due here. So the 1%, perseverance is a skill. It is not an inherent trait. It's a skill so therefore it's something that can be built on. Sponge at capacity, what a great way to describe the energy right now. She said her brain feels like it's a sponge at capacity. You got to wring that sponge out, babe. How are you going to wring that sponge out? I keep seeing one of those great big car wash sponges, the big ones they used to use. Well, maybe they still have them, but I go through automated. I'm not doing that. So if your brain's at that, if it's at capacity, you got to squeeze it out somehow. It might be stepping away from the books in order to squeeze it out. Or you're a very auditory listener. Maybe you could record your notes and play them in your earphone while you're feeding the goats. I don't know. Doing something earthy, grounded. So keeping the concept of incremental movement in there. You must do the happy dance. Any incremental movement has to have the happy dance. So if you set the intention that you were going to go for a walk 3 times this week and you hit that 3rd time, you better be happy dancing back to your house, condo, wherever you live. If you said you were going to meal prep, if you were going to get the laundry done, you were going to answer all the emails. Oh, is that ever done? But whatever you set as that 1%, when you accomplish it, acknowledge it, hit the enter button, get it in there so that your brain recognizes, oh, this is what I do for myself. I celebrate the fact that I did that 1%. The ability and the willingness, it's the willingness to set the goal, right? Because that takes courage to be able to say, I set this parameter for myself. I set this aspiration for myself. There has to be something within that will guide you towards that, to help you work towards it, to persevere towards it. That little voice inside that says, not only is this a good idea, you deserve it, and then what are the steps that we'll take in order to get there? So the goal, literally the destination, perseverance, the gas that keeps it going. I think sometimes a little bit of tenacity helps too, just staying in there. I don't know how you would accomplish goals without perseverance. I'm not sure how. I just started to really break the stuff out to see, wait a minute, what's the, kind of like a recipe, what's the missing ingredient? Like when I'm working with people, to see what am I missing? What am I not saying here? And then it's like, oh, okay, we ditch things and the minute there's an idea. So, and along those lines, like if you're setting a goal is a risk. It's risky to set a goal. Like we're saying, that's where I'm going. That's what I want for myself. Hoo-wee, deep breathing. What is this? You can't develop perseverance without being willing to take a risk. That toddler stood up taking a risk. They might not be consciously thinking about that, but they were taking the risk of falling that foot. So when you take risks, you raise the possibility of facing difficult situations. You're basically like, my hat's in the ring. That I caution people in saying, bring it, but that's essentially what you're saying. Energetically. So the perseverance and the idea of it and the acknowledgement of it when you're in a difficult situation or that goal is right there and it looks like it's going over there and you got to do something else to adjust, you adapt, you learn, and you understand, and you learn to understand that these steps are necessary to keep moving in the direction that you'd like to be moving in, that you're growing. So it's a balance between taking the inventory, but also knowing that I want to move the bar or where it is forward. So, and when we do that, one of the things that will show up is resistance, right? So there's, a resistance, there's the desire within us to grow, and then a counter force of resistance that shows up almost immediately. I don't know why we need that check and balance. Maybe that's so we don't jump off roofs and things. I don't know. But so when you understand resistance is there to help you, is there to inspire, like the resistance to absorb the class information, or like my resistance to writing out more of the coursework, asking myself, what is that about? I know I'm going to persevere because I've met the challenges I've set for myself before, but understanding that resistance is showing up for whatever block might be there, it loses its power. It starts to fall away. And then the grit or the energy of perseverance is like, here I am. Okay, I'll get the work done. So I think resistance and the failure idea do tend to dance together pretty closely. So I think more people have a fear of success than they have a fear of failure. We've just been led to believe that a fear of failure, maybe it's the alliteration, I don't know, it just sounds better. Or you can do the poor me, I'm afraid of failure. It's like, no, you're not. You're afraid of being successful and having to maintain it. Face it, look at it, and then create a plan beyond that. So perseverance. Speaking of that, I'm in the middle of reading a good book called The War of Art that talks about, it's business-based, but it talks about struggle and our dance with struggle. The Art of War is a totally different book. You don't want to read that one. I do believe it was a play on that, but it's the War of Art. Stephen something. I can't remember his last name, but Stephen something. I don't like blanket statements, but hardly anyone perseveres without help. So one of the ways that you can develop perseverance is by creating a support network, like creating the people around you that can be helpful, family, friends, coworkers, peers, there's a group for everything on Facebook, some kind of support network that when you're doubting and when you're feeling like packing it in, you have that feedback and encouragement. Of course, you want to be selective about these people. Don't pick the ones that are going to tell you suck and you're not going to succeed in anything. But that's the point of building a network of support. But then learning to take advantage of it. I have amazing support around me, and admittedly, I stink at taking advantage of it, or by asking for help and everything. So I completely know I'm suggesting this and am not walking it right now. However, this is the part of growth, right? We look at what is it that you would like to enhance in yourself? What is it that you would like to embrace? And you work from there. Perseverance is not perseverating. I know they have a similar root and middle, actually. Perseverating is when you go in a looping thought over and over and over and over and over on something. That's not what perseverance is. Perseverance is a belief in self at its very core, a belief that you can do something, whatever that something is. Perseverating is usually the voice saying you can't do it. So just as a little vocabulary fun there, in case you're doing a crossword puzzle at some point, and because they have almost the same number of letters. And then in the support network, hopefully there's people in there that will also say to you, I don't think that's a good idea, or have you thought that through, or is that really in your best interest? Because people who are doing it after they've really heard you, people who are saying that really care. They really want to help you, and to have a support network and to have friends or a coach or somebody that will say, really, is that true? It's important. It's different than the ones that start off with, no, you can't do that. Those are the negative Nells and Nellies and Neds and all those ends. Just to visit the goal thing again, part of any goals have to be inspiration. You have to feel I think for success anyway, that there has to be some inspiration to it. The why. Why is this goal here? Why do you want to do it? What benefit will it bring to you and then hopefully to others? If you have the inspiration to set a goal, you have the ability to persevere through that goal. You might move the goalpost. You might change things up. It might look like a totally different goalpost by the time you're done. It could look like Mayflower or something, maple. It's got all the little decorations on it and stuff. But if there's not inspiration in any of this, meaning being in spirit as well, why even set a goal? So being in and inviting in your spirit, your soul self, your guides, your angels, your team, you essentially end up operating as one whole being. And in doing that, the goals get easier and not without effort, because that would be boring. But they do get easier. I'd like to have something for you guys to have concretely to take forward. What is something, and you don't have to share it with me, but I do want you to note it, write it down, whatever. I want you to make it concrete. What is something that comes first and foremost to your mind that you would like to put some effort behind, that you would like to practice this persevering idea? Please make it something attainable. Something when it's completed, you go, yeah, I rock. Write this down. Have it be something that gets a calendar date. It gets some kind of commitment. It gets some kind of meeting time. You are going to meet with you around this. So make it doable. Don't pick so big that it's not attainable, but also don't postpone it so far that you don't have to put any kind of effort behind it. And then within that, 2 benchmarks, 2 points underneath, because likely if it's a lofty enough goal, there are some steps you'll have to take before you get there. If it was do the dishes before you go to bed tonight, I'm great with that. But what's the benchmark? Are you going to do it right after we hang up? Yes. Don't put it off. And maybe the benchmark is wash the glasses first and then do the plates. But have some benchmarks in there so that each time you reach a level, you get to celebrate. You get to do the happy dance and you get to say to yourself, I am persevering. Look at me go. Because that will reinforce to your neural pathways that you are doing something not only for yourself, but you're doing something that you want to build on in the future. I think a lot of people question why things don't work, why something hasn't happened, or why is this happening to me, or why can't I do this? I just think we have to shift the why to, well, why can't I persevere through this? Why can't I succeed in this the same way I learned to tie my shoelaces? It took me a little bit, but I got it. If you're only wearing Velcro, sorry, but, or Crocs. I guess there's Crocs now, right? And then you need a statement of encouragement along the way. There has to be a statement of encouragement. Mine is actually very simple. It's, you can do this. And then when I find that I'm not as resistant to it, I say, I can do this. If there's any resistance in me, I use the you and speak to like my whole self. Like, you can do this. You can do this. You figured out that other thing. You've come through this. You did all that. You can do this. And then when I feel the resistance drop, I change it to, I can do this. You need a statement of encouragement, because even though you're going to develop this amazing support network, if you don't already have one, you have to be the president of that support network. Like, you have to be the one guiding it. Most of this comes down to focus. This hour went very fast and I talked a lot. But I feel like the need to be, and it is a need right now, it's not a want. The need to be our own cheerleaders is huge right now. We have to do this. You have to dig deep. And when the doubt part of your head comes up, you have to face it and say, no, I'm not listening to you right now. Thanks for your input, but you're fired. The meditation for tonight is slightly different in that it's actually meant to be a tool to help to get you to persevering. So rather than rah, rah, sis, boom, bah, I was never a cheerleader, but I'm a good cheerleader for people, but that whole cheer and stuff, I would have hurt someone on the floor. I would have gone left instead of right. It's meant to be used as a tool to get to persevering, because in order to have perseverance, you have resiliency, but then you also ask the why and you get curious. If you don't have focus, you're not going to have any of this. So the meditation tonight is about eliminating distractions. Some of this is to address the energy that's going on too, but it will be to focus and eliminate distractions. So thank you all, as always, for joining me. I'm so grateful. So here we go. We all benefit from increasing our focusing abilities. Every aspect of our life could use more focus. It's actually my word for the year. Your life could use more focus, so you can complete tasks quickly and with high quality, because that feels good as a human too. The first and most important thing to do that increases your focusing abilities is to eliminate the distractions. We live in such a distraction-filled world. So many things are competing for our attention, including the energy world. So let's begin exploring how to eliminate distractions by allowing yourself to relax and to relax deeply. As always, breathing is essential. Yet most of us don't notice what our breathing is like all day long. Some of us were in a practice of not noticing it for years. We simply forget we're breathing. When we decide to take several breaths on purpose, our bodies appreciate it. Your body really loves the extra oxygen that is supplied through your bloodstream, through your entire system, energizing it and allowing it to feel vital, allowing it to feel alive. So we're going to take 10 full, deep breaths, and I'm going to lead you through this. Feel free to breathe on your own frequency, but also take the deep breaths with me, if you will, allowing for each breath to relax you further. 1, breathing deeply, allowing your belly to expand, and exhale, letting the air simply escape. 2, taking a full breath of fresh air. And let it go, allowing yourself to feel very relaxed. 3, make your breaths meaningful. And exhale, just letting the air go. 4, focus only on your breath. And pay attention as you let it go. Nothing else matters except breathing. 5, fully focus on this breath in. And when you let it go, you feel extremely relaxed. 6, all of your focus is again on your breath. letting all of your worries go when you exhale. 7, breathe with passion. And exhale, letting that wave of relaxation come completely over you. 8, the only thing that matters is your breath. Focus on it. Let it come in and let it go out. 9, expand your belly as much as you can as you breathe in. Good. Exhale, letting your belly fall. And 10, last one. So make it a good and completely full inhale. And when you let it go, you feel so invigorated from this task. Allow your breath to return to a slower and normal flow now. You don't have to change anything about it. Let it be natural. Simply pay attention as your belly starts to rise and fall, but maybe not as much as when you were fully breathing. When you inhale naturally, I wonder if you can imagine that you are able to breathe all the way into your toes. Feel as if when you breathe, the oxygen travels down to each one of your toes. And when you let this breath go, your entire legs become light and relaxed, almost as if they're supported by clouds. Very good. And now, imagine when you inhale, you are breathing all the way into each fingertip. Feel how your fingers feel when you are imagining your breath extending all the way to the tips. On the exhale, your entire arms relax completely so they feel as light as a feather. Very good. Now, with the power of your imagination, see the next breath you take going all the way up your body and into your head. It relaxes your mouth, your eyes, your nose, and your ears. And when you exhale, you feel light and relaxed, like you're floating on water. Breathe in and feel the breath going to your forehead, relaxing away any worrisome facial expressions you have carried throughout your life. Allow for the next breath to fill your entire head, relaxing your brain as well as your mind. Your head has never felt this relaxed before, and neither has your mind. Your mind is relaxed and gently open. Great. Now your entire body and mind are relaxed. I want you to feel how focused you are right now on this relief you created in yourself. You did that. You were just now very focused on breathing and visualizing that entire body loosened and feels pleasant. And you did that. This is the power of focus and how it changes
everything you put it towards. So just let your mind drift and wander now. You don't even have to listen to me too carefully if you don't want to. You deeply hear everything I'm telling you without having to try to listen at all. When it is time for you to focus, you must calm your body and your brain first. You must get comfortable wherever you are and do a simple breathing exercise like this one. Imagine the breath going into all areas of your body as well as your mind, relaxing you as you do so. After you do this task, and it's complete, you find you are noticeably more relaxed. It will give you a good understanding about where your focus needs to be. You will want to eliminate any distractions, so once you begin your task, you can be fully focused, and nothing will take your mind elsewhere. You can take care of anything that needs to be done prior to this, before beginning your task. Our phones and other devices are very good at distracting us. So when you're ready to begin, whatever it is that you would like to persevere through, give yourself the permission to put those devices on airplane mode, or power them off, or no new notifications. Reduce whatever can take your attention away. Successfully eliminating distractions and potential distractions can allow for your focus to become precise as a laser. If an alert should happen within your own mind, you can turn that notification off as well by taking a nice deep breath and assigning that task to another day. Focus is a gift you give yourself. You started today by focusing on your breath. You can always focus on your breath. You can do that before focusing on anything else. So as you allow yourself to come back to the present moment, aware of your surroundings, take all the time you need, you will find that your mind enjoyed being focused and that it can help your brain to become better at eliminating distractions and allow your focus to work well with your perseverance.
Thank you for listening to Intuition, Your First Sense. I'm so grateful to have you here. It's like a gift to me every week. And speaking of gifts, did you know that you can purchase gift certificates on my website, vickibaird.com, for yourself, for others? You can purchase coaching packages and gift those out. So please head on over to vickibaird.com and purchase your electronic gift certificate.